Welcome back to the committee on the Ben Network. The Washington Post published an op-ed by actor James Franko. Franko says he worked at a minimum wage job for McDonald's when he was an 18-year-old actor, and he's grateful for the experience. He says he's grateful for the job and the pay, and the article is critical for calls for higher pay in the fast food business. So let's ask the panelists what they think. Eric, why don't we start with you about Franko's?
Well, I actually admire James Franko quite a lot. He's a graduate of the Brooklyn College MFA program, and he is getting a doctorate in English at Yale, and he's a very creative force, and he's a real Renaissance man, but this is a very jerky thing for a gazillionaire like him to say. He's got no I worked at Burger King, actually. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but like James Franko, I didn't really have to worry about supporting myself or anyone else at the time. An awful lot of people do. They make, I think, $7.25 an hour. James Franko spends more than that on a cappuccino. He's got no understanding at all of who makes up the fast food workforce and the conditions under which they're trying to live, and it's simply impossible. It's also bad public policy because so many of these people have to go on all kinds of forms of public assistance because they're not paid a living wage. That's why Andrew Cuomo, who doesn't really care about poor people very much and has never done anything since he's been governor that wealthy contributors would object to, did one thing, which is last week he agreed to found a commission that would unilaterally raise the pay of fast food workers. It's the only issue he's taken on behalf of really poor people since he became governor, and it's because the case is so overwhelming, and that's A, and B, it's the one area where unions have been very effective in making their case in this country, and when people look at the data, this argument that it's all teenagers and actors supporting themselves just doesn't hold up. So Franko should have done some research before he melted off on this.
Well, considering that you're in show business, Guy, did you start out that way at a fast food place?
I have been lucky enough that I've never had to take a minimum wage job, but I feel empathy for those who have to support their families that way. And I agree with Eric. I think it was a real missed opportunity on James Franko's part. We are in a culture that has such reverence for celebrity, and celebrities, like for better or worse, have such huge megaphones that I feel it was like bordering on irresponsible for him to wade into the debate with a message that basically says, "Oh, it's all right. Everybody working at McDonald's is just fine." He says in his piece, which seemed to me to be more about James Franko than about McDonald's, that his 3-month stint ended when he got cast in a Pizza Hut commercial. So that's not the typical career path for somebody at McDonald's, and he was 18 at the time, and this, as Eric pointed out, there's people much older trying to support families and trying to maybe have a second job to make that happen. So if you're going to wade into the debate at all as a celebrity, maybe have a more positive impact.
Can I raise another issue about fast food workers? One of the biggest problems they face now is not just pay, but it's scheduling. Because everyone's got a cell phone, the owners of the fast food worker franchises feel that they don't have to give people their schedules in advance. They say, be here in 4 hours, be here tomorrow morning at the crack of dawn. They won't tell them in advance. So it's impossible to schedule their own lives. It's impossible to schedule doctor's appointments. It's impossible to schedule meetings with teachers. It's impossible to have any family time. And this is yet another abuse by the corporations that own these fast food franchises, where the people at the top are making 400 times, 500 times what they pay their workers. And there are a lot of problems here, but the idea that Franko thinks he can have any authority on the basis of having worked there for 3 months as an 18-year-old before he became James Franko, it's pathetic. He should really have a manager who protects him from this kind of nonsense.
No, I don't want to come off like we're just bashing McDonald's or the fast foods generally, but
I am.
do they provide?
They're terrible.
But
everything about them is terrible.
Could you even say that they provide opportunity for people just on the sheer numbers of people they hire?
What do you mean? Well, sure, but so does shoveling feces into on the street. The fact is they exploit young people. They're terrible for the environment. They give people incredibly unhealthy food, and they shove it on them in far greater portions than are healthy. You know, would you like fries with that? They're a scourge on humanity. They're a nightmare. And they're destroying mom and pop businesses that can actually support people.
I think Guy agrees with you on that.
I do, but it's bigger than fast food. Walmart has the same habit of not letting people schedule their lives, and that makes it hard for low-income workers to get a second job if they have to be, on call at 4 hours' notice to work a shift.
Or to make sure that their kids do their homework. I mean, it's terrible.
From some of the notes I have, according to the Census Bureau, a little more than half the people working in minimum wage jobs have dependents, and more than half are under age 25. So if the minimum wage increase will lead some to lose jobs, is it worth it?
Yes. The business always makes that argument, and it's always exaggerated. And look, if you had to charge another nickel for those awful hamburgers, people would still buy them. It's not about the exact price point. So if they raise the cost of a Whopper or a Big Mac, it's not going to hurt anyone, and it'll allow them to pay a livable wage.
Guys,
it's the same argument. Sorry, but it's the same argument about Apple in China that we made recently. You don't have to ruin people's lives to either increase your profit margin so that you're the most profitable company in the world, or that people won't pay an extra $1 or $2 for the product. They will pay that $1, and then the workers can have a life of dignity.
So, Guy, what are the wages like on the television side that you work in? Do you have anybody working down near the minimum wage level?
There's PAs working at or close to minimum wage. Every show I've worked on, there's been sort of word from on high that they're just absolutely short of money. It was a little ridiculous when I was at Beavis and Butthead. Viacom, the parent company, was in the process of buying Paramount for billions of dollars, and every day you go in and see there's a new $9 billion, $10 billion bid for Paramount, and meanwhile I'm in an office where we're told we have to pinch every penny.
And the CEO makes about $100 million a year at Viacom.
So we're not just bashing fast food places. I mean, we're seeing this as part of the workforce is making minimum wage.
Yeah, I think the country's at a crossroads where people are considering whether it would be wise to raise the minimum wage, and across all different industries, and this would have been a good time for James Franko to sort of weigh in on that.
So let me look at the structure for the workforce for television and say that there are other payoffs other than the minimum wage when we talk jobs in the television business.
Absolutely. Like all the PAs I've worked with have been young 20-somethings who are making connections and working their way up. So it's not a real parallel to somebody maybe trying to support a family in middle age at McDonald's or Walmart or so on. But you asked for, in the television industry, where are the lowest paying jobs, but that would be a plucky PA who hopefully will go on to run the network someday.
Well, I think the difference is that in the television industry, in most cases, it's the bottom of the ladder, whereas at McDonald's and Walmart, there isn't any ladder. There's just the floor.
And those are strong points. I'm afraid that's all the time we have today, though. Thank you very much, Guy and Eric. Thank you for watching. I'm Patrick Sheldon. This is BEN, where jobs come first.